What was the motivation to take it that giant step further? Was it again the same thing of you wanting to challenge yourself? Was it to prove yourself? What was it?
It was a bit of everything. Again, yeah, I wanted to know, could I be in the Champions League? Could I be run alongside your David Beckhams, but in the military world? I wanted to know if I could. I always felt I could, but you don't know until you do it. It's easy to sit back and say, I was going to be this, I was going to do that. I'm not one of them people. I want to know if I can. So that was in my mind. I wanted to do it. I knew that the regiment, from what I did know, and from people that I didn't know, it's a different league. You work at a different level. You work at strategic level because you're small numbers. And don't get me wrong, the parachute regiment is phenomenal, and they're awesome soldiers. And so, the Marines and all the rest of all the military. You've all got your jobs to do. The regiment is different. Like I say, you work at a strategic level. You work on a different sort of level of communication and intelligence, and everything is real. It's for, not to say it's not real in the other, but this is massive decision changing stuff that you're involved in, and I wanted to be part of that. But again, I wanted to be, could I be the person to make these decisions? Could I be the one that is actually having a massive influence on not just our country, on the world? In some of these places that you end up changing policies for the better for governments. You end up, saving lots and lots and lots of lives, directly or indirectly. And I knew that's what I wanted to be part of. I wanted to be part of this sort of legacy, this unbelievable sort of, where I knew it again, there was many, many people try, but many, many people fail. Very, very few people actually get to that point. And I just wanted to know if I could be one of them people. And yeah, so all that mixture I've just spoke about was the reasons why I went for it and wanted to do it, not just the challenge.
And if I'm right in thinking, a lot of that took place not far from you, the Brecon Beacons, and
Correct.
you went through stages like the endurance. You mentioned the fan dance. Just for the people listening who might not be aware of SAS selection and what it's like, where did it take you mentally? Did it take you to the darkest corners of your mind at the time?
It really did, yeah. I mean, I think you had to break through all the doubts and all those barriers, and it was down. It really makes you realise it's down to you now. This is where one of the biggest ingredients for SAS selection is self-motivation. It's not like any other course where, you'll have some big instructor behind you screaming and shouting and pushing you. So that's where there's the reality, the difference between the show that you watch, SAS Who Dares Wins, and reality and the real selection. There's no screaming and shouting. No one shouts at you. No one drags you along. None of that. There's none of that. It's all down to you going through those final barriers that you don't think you can do, because no one else is going to tell you to do. They'll just tell you, get from A to B, carrying a fucking house on your back at this speed, do it. And you can, if you don't want to do it, you don't do it. That's where I really felt that, mentally, it was a different level. It was an absolute different challenge. And again, it was down to me. And I had the option to say, nah, that's enough. I'll just walk away. And I felt like I could hold my head up high, but I just felt, no, I need to sort of push myself again a little bit further and go a little bit more, see what else I can do. So that was the difference. That's what it's all about, And you talk about selection, SAS selection. What a lot of people don't know is we call it the Ills phase, which is the Brecon Beacons. That's, a month plus of work where you end up a very small team to start with, and then individually you're on your own for all of it. And it's long durations, it's heavy weights, it's times, and it's hard. It's physically hard and mentally. But that really is the hardest part of selection. Is the next phase is when you go to the jungle. And people don't realise that. I mean, you lose 70% of your people on the mountains anyway. And you don't really, as a DS, look at people until the Ills are finished. Because what you'll end up with then is the real hardcore bunch of people who want to be there, definitely want to be there, and they're fit enough, of course. And this is when you start to really put on the pressure of the mental side of it, working in the jungle and operating. You're carrying just as much weight. It's exactly like doing the Ills phase, the Brecon Beacons phase, but under a canopy. It's like doing it in the sauna and being smashed in the face every 2 minutes with sticks and bushes and stuff. So yeah, that's what selection's all about. That's where the real physicals are is all the way through, but the main part of the physical is the mountain side of it, and then the main, really the sort of mental side of it is thereafter, through the jungle and through the rest of the training.
What did you discover about willpower during that phase? Did you discover, is there a finite resource? Do we have unlimited willpower? Do we kid ourselves about how much we have?
I don't think we realise how much we have until you go break those barriers, until you push it, or your heart and lungs might be pounding and you're sucking in air from England. If you're in Wales, it's hard, but you just, as long as you're mentally, your mind doesn't give up, you'll go through barriers you just didn't think you could do it. That willpower comes with just trying, just pushing it that little bit further without trying to kill yourself, of course. We've got more willpower than you realise. It's just whether you're willing to challenge it, whether you want to. It really is. You've got to go out that comfort zone. Nothing comes easy. If it comes easy, it probably ain't worth having. And you can look at people. Like people look at the guys who come on the show, and you get athletes. And you think, well, geez, they're the fittest in the world, and all of a sudden they've gone after 2 days. Because it's not one discipline; it's a multitude of disciplines, and the main one is the willpower, the wanting it, the will to just at least go for it, try it. So that's the difference, I think.